When tackling PTE reading fill in the blanks, the most common mistake is reading left to right and guessing what sounds right. Instead, we need to analyze the structural relationship of the words immediately before and after the blank. Looking at the first sentence, we have the subject, Complementary Therapies, followed by a blank and the preposition by. This grammatical structure requires a past participle verb to complete the passive voice phrase. In our options, conducted and practiced both fit grammatically. While conducted sounds formal, we have to test it against professional collocations. Medical professionals do not conduct therapies on patients, they practice them. The correct answer is practiced. Repeat that phrase to yourself, practice a therapy. Sticking to these specific grammatical verb-noun pairings replaces guesswork with a predictable formula. By isolating the parts of speech, the correct choice becomes a matter of logic rather than intuition. Moving to the second blank, the sentence discusses therapies becoming increasingly popular. The phrase, over the last few, tells us we need a plural noun representing a span of time to measure this societal trend. We can immediately eliminate hours and moments. Societal shifts do not happen in an afternoon. That leaves us with the only logical measurement of time for this scale, decades. The third blank introduces an intentional redundancy trap. Look closely at the beginning of the sentence. It starts with the word interest. Down in our options, we see the word interest listed again. Writers avoid repeating the exact same noun in a single clause. To maintain proper sentence flow, we need a synonym. Enthusiasm fits perfectly here, creating the natural phrase, enthusiasm for alternative lifestyles. Next, we look at the clause covering immigration and increased trade with China, ending with have also had an blank. We need a noun describing the impact these external forces exert on a society. Trade and immigration do not have an earning or an indication, they have an influence. Have an influence is the specific verb-noun pairing required here. Looking at a blank in isolation makes you vulnerable to repetition. Scanning the entire preceding clause is what allows you to spot and bypass those logical redundancies. Let's test your active recall. Pause the video here, evaluate the context of the final sentence, and attempt to select the correct answer for blank 5 on your own. If you picked efficiency, you fell for a classic distractor. Efficiency refers to speed or cost saving, how fast or cheap a process is. The text is discussing scientific research into therapies. Researchers do not primarily test if a therapy is cheap, they test if it actually works. Efficacy is the precise medical term for whether a treatment produces the desired therapeutic result. Distinguishing between similar-sounding technical terms like efficiency and efficacy is exactly the kind of critical competency that secures high-level PTE reading scores. Here is the completed exercise. By applying our structural rules, the paragraph now has a complete, grammatically sound flow. To lock this in, we'll build a cheat sheet for the collocations we extracted. First, practice a therapy. Second, enthusiasm for. Memorizing these exact pairings saves critical time. Now add have an influence and scientific efficacy. Drill these 4 phrases into your active vocabulary. High scores in these exercises aren't the result of lucky guesses. They come from analyzing how words interact with their neighbors and adhering to the strict rules of professional vocabulary.